Hello everyone. In previous video we have discussed about ethyl alcohol, then the sign and symptoms of acute alcohol intoxications and the treatment and various medical legal issues. Now in this video we are going to discuss about drunkenness. So drunkenness is very important while examining a case of drunkenness. So we will be discussing in detail how to examine medically of an alleged case of drunkenness. Now the various tests are needed for the same examinations. So please do subscribe and press the bell icon for getting notifications, and thank you so much. Keep on watching, stay tuned. So guys, first of all, what is drunkenness? What is the definition of drunkenness? So drunkenness is basically a condition. It is the condition produced in a person who has taken alcohol in a quantity. Any person who has taken alcohol in a quantity that is sufficient to cause him to lose control. There is such quantity, ingestion of such quantity that there is loss of control of all his faculties that the person is not able to execute safely the occupation in which he was engaged at a particular time. So it is the condition which is produced in a person who has taken alcohol in such a quantity that cause him to lose control of his faculties to such an extent that the person is unable to execute safely the occupation in which he was engaged at a particular time. So this is the definition of drunkenness. Now the medical examination of an alleged alcoholic is very much important. So medical examination, how to examine a case of drunkenness, this is important. So first of all, history taking. Now the detailed history of relevant events, detailed history of all the relevant events is very much important, and it should be taken while observing the patient, while observing the person, and the amount and type of the history of the type of alcohol and amount of alcohol consumed. It should be recorded or should be noted, and there should be any history of any disease, or any treatment. So this detailed history is required. After that detailed history while history taking, observe the patient and observe the general behavior. So next is the observation of general behavior of the patient. So how to observe general behavior? The state of dress, the dressing, whether any vomitus is present or not, whether there is soiling of cloth or not, whether there is any excreta is present, the type of speech, whether the speech is slurred speech or over precise speech, there is slurring of speech is present or not. Now slight blurring of certain consonants is seen is one of the earliest sign of incoordination. So initially due to incoordination there is blurring of certain consonants because of incoordination in muscles of tongue. So because of this incoordination there is slight blurring or the slurring of speech. Now certain test phrases may be used for testing this difficulty in speech, like British Constitution. Ask that person to speech British Constitution, or other phrase is truly rural. Truly rural. Such phrases are required basically for testing the incoordination, the muscle incoordination in the tongue muscles. Now next is the checking for the memory or the mental alertness. So how to check for the memory or mental alertness? So the memory of the person for recent event, for both the recent event and his appreciation of time, that can be judged by asking suitable questions about his moment during the preceding few hours. So during the preceding few hours, what was the event, the recent related to certain time or related to recent event, the detailed history can be asked, so that there is a general idea about the mental alertness and the memory of that person. Now exclusion of all injuries, whether there is any injury is present or not, or any pathological condition, so they should be excluded. Now how to exclude? Just by general physical examination and by doing certain tests, like exclusion of head injury, exclusion of any metabolic disorders, now exclusion of any neurological disorders, now any history of epilepsy or seizure, any significant finding during examinations of epilepsy, or any significant finding related to any drug intake, etc. So these are the findings which are required and they has to be examined for exclusion of any injury and pathological conditions. Now the next is the how to assess the handwriting of the person. So handwriting is very much important while examining a case of drunkenness. So examinee should be asked to copy a few lines from a whether from a newspaper or from a book. The person is asked to copy certain lines, and a note should be made in the time taken, total how much time the person has taken. Now the repetition of words, and or omission of any word. So omission of word, letter and lines, or total time taken, it should be noted. Now the signature of the person, can be compared with that on his driving license. So some if any driving license is there with the person, the signature can be cross checked on the driving license. So this is the way of assessing the handwriting of the person. Now next is to check various other significant finding, like to note pulse of that person. So what happens to the pulse in drunkenness? Resting pulse should be taken at the beginning of examination. We'll take resting pulse. Now resting pulse should be taken at the beginning and at the end of the examinations. Now the temperature should be recorded. Now the surface temperature is usually raised in case of acute alcohol intoxication, or a case of drunkenness, the temperature will be slightly raised. Now skin, the examination of skin, whether skin is dry or it is moist, or any flushing, it is flushed or it is pale. So all these findings should be noted. So the condition of skin has to be noted. Now the condition of mouth, record the general state of mouth and teeth, tongue. The general state of teeth, tongue, mouth should be recorded. The smell of breath, the alcoholic smell in breath has to be recorded. So whether there is alcoholic breath smell is coming out in breath or not, that should be recorded. It is very much important finding, it is very much significant. Now the various findings in eyes. So how to check for that? So eyes, whether the eyes are red and eyelids are swollen or not, eyelids are swollen, whether the conjunctiva is congested or not. So congestion of conjunctiva, redness of eyes, so swelling of lids has to be noted. Now any gross defect in visual acuity should be noted. Any defect in visual acuity should be checked. And there is examination for the pupils. Both pupils should be checked for their size, whether the size is equal or unequal size. Now whether they are dilated or contracted. Usually in alcohol intoxication, the pupil are dilated early. Initially the pupil are dilated, then there is contraction in late stage. So initially pupil will be dilated, then later on they will be constricted. Now the check for the nystagmus, any brisk movement are present or not. There may be presence of lateral nystagmus, fine lateral nystagmus may be present in case of acute alcohol intoxications. Now nystagmus, this nystagmus may be seen in case of fatigue, may be seen in case of emotional or postural hypotension. Simply in case of postural hypotension, the nystagmus may be seen. So these conditions should be ruled out. Now the next is the examination of ear. So any gross impairment in hearing, ears, any gross impairment in hearing. Now the gait, the assessment of gait is very much important. So this is the examination for the coordination of fine and gross movement, for fine and gross movements. So we will check for fine and gross movement in coordination. Then how to check? There is a test known as walk and turn test. So this is the test in which we will assess the manner of walking. So manner of walking is assessed by walk and turn test. So the examinee should be asked to walk across the room and will note the manner of walking, whether it is straight, whether the manner is straight, it is irregular or unsteady with feet wide apart, the gait is unsteady, or reaction time to a direction to turn. So any reaction time to any direction given, turn, like the person turns at once and continue for one or two steps before further direction. So the manner of turning is also assessed. So manner of walking and after that manner of turning should be assessed. Whether the examinee keep balance, whether the person is able to keep balance, any lurching is there or not, any lurching forward or to the one side is noted. So these are the findings of assessment of gait while examining a person of alcohol intoxication. Now for muscle coordination. So for muscle coordination, there is a test for muscle coordination that is known as finger nose test, in which placing the finger to finger, or finger to the nose and picking up medium size object from floor, they can be used for checking the muscle coordination. Now what happens in a case of chronic alcoholic, a chronic alcoholic patient, when they are sober, then also they are not able to perform these tests for coordination as well. So they all are not able to perform this test even when they are sober. This is true for chronic alcoholic patients. And the next tests are we can go for knee and ankle reflexes, ankle jerk reflex. Knee and ankle reflex should be tested for their delayed or sluggishness, whether they are delayed or sluggish, so they has to be checked. Now the condition of heart. What is the condition of heart? General assessment of lungs and abdominal examination should be done. Abdominal examination should be done, and blood pressure should be taken, respiratory rate should be taken for general assessment of heart, lung and abdomen. Now the various laboratory investigations. So laboratory investigations. So what are the laboratory investigations required? We can go for alcohol estimation in blood. We can also go for estimation in urine or breath or saliva. So these are the specimen of choice for estimation of the alcohol level: the blood, urine, breath and saliva. Now vitreous humor and urine. The vitreous humor, vitreous and urine, they are both are protected from putrefaction because they are in closed compartment. So that's why they are protected, comparatively protected from the putrefactive processes for a longer period of time, and they do not contain any much glucose. So they are the ideal specimen of choice or ideal the sample of choice for estimation of blood alcohol. Now blood is the most suitable. Blood is the most suitable and most direct evidence of concentration of alcohol in brain. So blood is the most direct evidence that if the blood alcohol level is raised, it means it can correlated with the level in brain. Now urine has about 25% more water. Urine contains 25% more water than equal volume of blood. So its concentration of alcohol will be 25% higher than in the blood collected at the same time. So if we compare the urine and blood, so one ratio that is 1.3:1 is usually accepted when urine and blood both are in equilibrium with each other. So a urine sample taken post-mortem may be more reliable qualitative. It is more reliable qualitative index of antemortem intoxication. So this is qualitative index of antemortem intoxication. Now the blood sample should be preserved by addition of 100 milligram sodium fluoride and 30 milligram potassium oxalate. So in 10 ml, we will add 100 milligram sodium fluoride and 30 milligram potassium oxalate, and we will shake it thoroughly so that we can send the blood sample for estimation of blood alcohol level. Now the something known as Widmark formula. So this is the formula, which is A is equal to PCR. So what is A in Widmark's formula? A is the weight of alcohol in body, and this weight is in gram. So weight of alcohol in body is the weight of alcohol in body in gram. Now the P is the body weight of the person, the body weight in kilograms. So body weight in kilogram. Now the C is the concentration of alcohol. C is the concentration of alcohol in blood. So this is the concentration of alcohol in blood, that is milligram per kilogram in milligram per kilogram. Now the R is the constant. R is the constant, and value of this constant is 0.68 for man and 0.55 for women. So this is the constant which is having different values, 0.68 for men and 0.55 for women. Now this is A is equal to PCR. This is the formula for calculating the amount of blood alcohol. Now one more test, that is the alcohol breath test. So what is alcohol breath test? Alcohol breath test. So the principle of this test, that alcohol basically absorbs radiation in infrared region of the spectrum. So it absorbs the radiation, and that the amount of infrared light, the amount of this light absorbed by the vapor is directly proportional to the concentration of alcohol. So amount that is absorbed by the infrared light by the vapor is directly proportional to the concentration of alcohol in that vapor, and the end portion of a prolonged force expiration gives correct result of total alcohol concentration in the breath. Now this breath test, the alcohol breath test, is basically based on the Henry law. So this is the principle of alcohol breath test. This is the Henry's law. So Henry's law says that when a volatile chemical, suppose a volatile chemical like ethanol, is dissolved in a liquid, and that liquid is blood. So ethanol is dissolved in any liquid, that is blood, and both are brought in an equilibrium with air in alveoli. So alveolar air. So when any volatile chemical like alcohol is dissolved in a liquid like blood, and they are brought to equilibrium with air, the alveolar air. So there is a fixed ratio between the concentration of this volatile substance, volatile compound, and in the alveolar air, and its concentration in the liquid, like blood, and the ratio is constant at a certain given temperature. So there is a constant ratio between the alveolar air, the concentration of the alveolar air, and between the concentration of volatile compound, the ethanol, and its concentration in the liquid. There is a constant ratio at a given temperature. Now the mechanism, what is the mechanism of breath analyzer test? So usually we have seen, like, person is asked to blow into an apparatus. There is an apparatus and person is asked to blow in that tube, and tests rely on the total infrared spectrum, the absorption of energy by ethyl alcohol, how much infrared has been absorbed by ethyl alcohol vapor in the breath sample. So this is the principle of alcohol breath test. Now the recent various other electrochemical oxidation method is also available. Electrochemical oxidation. So this is the newer test. It is more sophisticated version, and it is having one biosensor, and it is fabricated by immobilizing alcohol dehydrogenase, one enzyme, that is alcohol dehydrogenase. It is fabricated with this enzyme and NAD. So this is responsible for chemical reaction of alcohol oxidation. So that's why it is known as electrochemical oxidation test. Now the residual alcohol in mouth usually disappears in 20 minutes. It disappears in 20 minutes, and as such that's why the alcohol breath test should be repeated after 20 minutes. So This test should be repeated after 20 minutes. Now there may be some false value of alcohol in case of hyperventilation. If person is doing hyperventilation, if person is doing physical exercise, in case of emesis or regurgitation of gastric content, if there is regurgitation of gastric content. Now drinking of alcohol within few minutes, so that the level is not reached up to that level. So in these conditions the test may be of false value. Now there are various stages of alcohol. The person is under the influence of alcohol. So this stage is very much important. Now between 150 to 300, this is known as drunk or intoxicated. Drunk and intoxicated. Now between 300 to 400, this is the stage of stupor, and at the level of 400 milligram person, this is a stage of coma and death. Now what do you mean by under the influence? This is the condition in which there is flushing of face will be flushed, and dilated pupil will be dilated and sluggish. There may be euphoria, thickness of speech will be slurred or thickness, incoordination, gross incoordination in motor activities. Now there may be sudden turning and positive Wochenton test. So these are the conditions that is between the level of 80 to 150 milligram percent, and this is known as the under the influence stage of alcohol intoxication. Now the statutory limit of alcohol in our country, India, the statutory limit is 30 milligram percent. The blood alcohol level is 30 milligram percent according to section 185 of Motor Vehicle Act. So this is the level statutory limit, and the punishment for first offense is INR 10,000 and or imprisonment for up to 6 months to 1 year. So this is the punishment for first offense. Then for second offense or subsequent offense, the fine for 15,000 INR and imprisonment for up to 2 years. So this is the punishment for violation of the rules and drunken driving cases. So for first offense, the fine of 10,000 rupees and imprisonment up to 6 months to 1 year. For repeat offense, 15,000 fine with imprisonment up to 2 years. So guys, this is all about alcohol intoxication and drunkenness and how to examine a case of drunkenness. Now one more repeated question, that is the delirium tremens. The delirium tremens. So delirium tremens, what are delirium tremens? These are result from long continued action on the brain. If in case of chronic alcoholic, this alcohol causes prolonged action on brain. So it usually occurs on temporary excess of alcohol or sudden withdrawal or in case of injuries like shock after a driving injuries, or in case of acute infection. So these are some predisposing factors which are responsible for delirium tremens: acute infection, sudden withdrawal of alcohol, temporary excess, and shock due to various injuries. And this typically begins between 72 to 96 hours. 72 to 96 hours after last drink, last drink. Now this is an acute attack of insanity. So this is the acute attack of insanity, the delirium tremens, and this is the condition which is the main symptoms are muscular tremors of face. So there is tremors of face and tongue and hands, face and tongues and hands. There is restlessness, there is loss of memory, there may be confusion, there may be disorientation, and there may be tendency to commit suicide or even homicide or violent assault. Now other symptoms can be seen like fever or tachycardia or hypertension can be seen. Now there is basically disorientation in time, place, and peculiar kind of delirium of horror, in which there is hallucinations of sight, visual hallucinations, and auditory hallucinations. The hallucinations of hearing and sight will be present. Now it is basically considered as unsoundness of mind. So this is the unsoundness of mind. It is not intoxication, and death is may occur in some cases due to cerebral edema and due to cardiac failure or due to shock. So delirium tremens are very much important, and they are seen in alcohol intoxication, in chronic alcoholics. So this is all about delirium tremens. So please do subscribe and press the bell icon and give your valuable comments regarding any information, and give your feedbacks, and keep on watching. Stay tuned. Thank you so much. All the best.